Hello and welcome everyone. This is Blackadder at Blackadder's Place, and I'm here with another match from the round 1 of Fall of the Titans tournament. And this time it's going to be probably the best matchup that we have the honor of seeing. And right now I'll be having the honor of commenting, and that's between Shelty and Piske BR. Shelty is a pretty good player lately. He has improved quite a lot and is pretty decent with variety of gods. And for the first game he chooses Loki. And Piske, well, he is mainly Zeus, but I think he can play other gods as well. And he is coming back from some kind of hiatus, at least Onu, the clan itself is. It has returned to RTS League just this season. And well, let's see how their game on the Alfheim is going to be. So, Loki versus Zeus, and well, here we go. So the first to have a look at right now is on the right side, Piske. Let's just put off the view log here, sorry about that. And otherwise, pretty standard hand here, already getting killed by the TC. But let's see if he goes for it with the release, because if they don't, it's going to be slight, yeah, you will see a slight decay in the meat here. But well, doesn't really matter, it's just a very minor problem and not much of that at all in the first place. So he has went with his scout at the back to actually make sure that he discovers some extra potential cows, which he did, and also to have a very quick look where his back TC is, which he has just discovered, and some other properties of the map. He has also discovered some back hunt, which is pretty important at this stage of the game, and well, yet another cows, and that's basically what Zeus is and any Greeks do, and we can see that there is going to be a relic pretty here soon. Hence, we got to have a look at it. Another TC is very interestingly placed because you can expect that the opponent will be on the left side, and this is near the middle of the map, so I kind of think that this TC will be quite important for him to take care of. So let's right now switch into Shelty. And Shelty playing the Loki here is already gathering from the gold and also the back hunt, or rather the standard hunt. And right now he has went with his Sulsark where he shouldn't have. Received some extra damage from the TC, but well, it was kind of worth it because right now he knows where the opponent is. And as you can see by the path on the minimap, this is a pretty offensive scouting, and he will be aiming for some early pressure quite soon here. Right now trying to look at the back if there's some extra hunt, and no, there isn't. Hunt is here. And well, he's not having really any luck, and he will be running around the base there. Moving back to his base, he's scouting with his cows as well. Discovered first relic here, which is better archer, troll, centaur, wood cost. Okay, that's not half bad, especially it's really useful for the draws, but more important that his opponent doesn't get the archers and centaurs cheaper, so that's especially useful here. Another relic was in the middle of the map, which is better hero damage versus myth units. Well, this is pretty great for Loki, obviously, because you can expect the Heresier spam here, quite obviously. And well, since we have discovered everything, he didn't discover any extra hunt, which is very bad for him. Let's have a look where it actually is. It's pretty far away from him. It's in the middle of the map, so not ideal. And some extra hunt in the middle here. And he definitely missed that, and he might actually come back to root this, because he needs the second food. Otherwise, he will have to move to those berries and also the chickens pretty soon. So right now Piske has discovered that the Ulfsark is kinda half health, so he is very aimed at disrupting his position here with his scout, trying to make him die somehow sooner, and well, kinda force him to actually build a temple right inside his base, but I think that would have been happening even without that extra effort. And well, right now he's moving to the right, trying to find some extra hunt, but still not really having any luck. Let's put on the Fog of War, and right now he does. So right now he knows where to actually go with some extra of these guys, and he will be moving there pretty soon. And he doesn't have to be with all of those guys at the berries, but I kinda think he won't be moving anytime soon, because if he did, it's really far away. It's like quarter of a map, and that would really delay his advance into classical age, and that's something he doesn't want at all. So let's have a look at the rest of the relics here. This is one 6-unit line of sight. Oh, this is pretty awesome. This is pretty awesome, especially for raiding. And well, right now we see that the spy has been cast and on the food release, which is the best place of them all. And well, Piske is though almost finished with the 6 release on this hunt spot, and I kinda think he won't be moving forward here. He will be kinda forced to go for the chickens or the berries, and maybe even back here, but still the spy is pretty powerful, and no matter where he goes, it will be very easy to raid back then. So another relic is better infantry attack versus titans, not really all that great, and we can see that the force is already been researched, and we are 20% in, and do we see the second Loki temple soon? I kinda guess so, right after the house I would expect, but we need some extra resources, which now we should be having, and this could result in yet another temple, but first he seems to be interested in walling up, especially this one at the bottom is quite important, because it's basically to make sure that he has somewhere to run with his potential wheelies that he might be placing somewhere here. Not exactly sure which and for what, but it's probably going to result in some strategic position. I don't really see another reason for that kind of wall. His opponent is already advancing, I would kinda guess. Let's switch into Piske. And yeah, he's already through Athena almost. So this is pretty interesting at this point, because I would maybe think that going with Centaurs might have been slightly better against Loki, but he seems to be interested in basically going 1v1 there, and let's see how that will develop. Right now he's been forced of hunt, even though forced of hunt he's already finished all there was, and right now he has 4 willies, just one Usarkanwar Herser. That's actually a pretty good fight taken with the willies, and even though he paid with his life, it was basically because Shelty did better at the micro in here, and that was the reason why he won. So Piske is going for Military Academy, that means some hoplites, and quite possibly we will be very soon seeing, yeah, right now Archer range, so it's going to be quite standard hoplites together with Toxodai and some heroes as well. And they will be moving to the left also pretty soon, and in the meantime he's been pretty heavily raided on the food here because of the spire, and that's kinda easy and auto queue on, but he will survive because it's very close to the TC and not really any problem. I'm right now checking if he is trying to upgrade his towers. At this point it doesn't seem so, but Shelty is really intent on kinda controlling the map, which is a pretty good idea against Zeus, even though he doesn't go for raiding for centaurs or some cavalry or whatnot. Securing as much map control as he can through those walls, which would allow him to actually run behind the walls and protect themselves from damage, is very important at this stage and could prove quite invaluable. This one is a much more aggressive wall. It's basically to deny his opponent the gold, because it's, yeah, kind of the tree line is very sucky for Piske at this point, and he will be having quite a clear line of sight on the TC here, and not really clear line of sight, but he will see when somebody is moving close to the walls here, so he will know. Okay, so it seems like that Piske is right now discovering where Shelty was trying to go for some hunt, and he is stealing a relic here, which is for battle unit line of sight, which is important at this stage, and a pretty good idea, because once he discovered it, and if he can deny his opponent and he's raiding this kind of relic, that would be pretty powerful for him, but yeah, he right now opted to actually go for the draw, which is not a bad idea because the draw is damn slow and is probably going to pay. Yeah, so that was a waste of an army by Shelty, and really something that he did not want, because you don't want to give up any advantages to your opponent anytime soon. At the same time, you can see that Piske is already having quite a decent army. That's really, especially considering that Shelty is having just 5 Hercers here, this is really huge and could actually end up in a pretty short game. Well, let's see if that will happen. So far, I would really say that Piske is having a huge upper hand. Even if you look at the score, that's 150. That's really a big difference. But here comes into effect the wall here. And yes, Piske has to retreat all around. This is absolutely brilliant wall, I have to say. And he has to run around the forest here. And yep, this will allow some free kills and some potential free raiding. But unfortunately for Shelty, there is not really anything free. Just a bit of houses here and yeah, a bit of villas here. Actually not covered by the tower. Okay, so that could be pretty decent raiding for him. Because really, Piske isn't researching towers, that's the first. And second, there actually isn't that much of a protection on the gold and the wood line either, so he has to move somewhere else. Like here, this is much more protected, and I'm still waiting where Piske is with the towers. He is being raided, and I really would, at this point, advise him to take it, because yeah, he's raiding party of the few hoplites, and the Toxotai is getting killed right now by the 4 raiding cavalry. And yep, this guy is just too late, and probably some of the raiding cavalries will die, but overall they should be kind of fine. But with those Toxotai, yeah, the situation kind of changed, so not anymore. And well, we see a lot of red dots all around the map. Right now that was a granary just, but yes, this is a pretty good idea from Piske, because he can't really let this wall stand up here, because as we have seen, it was pretty powerful and really kind of a hindrance for Piske. Piske right now seems to be massing for some kind of attack, and we see a Hippicon, so he has switched also for at least one stable. And here you can see the combination of all three buildings, but no mythical units, so it's kind of interesting. And let's check some economical upgrades. We see some basics, some, which is a pretty good lineup for the early classical fight. And well, let's see how this will develop. This seems to be like a battle for restoration, but they kind of just went through each other. Not really interested in some attack, which is of course going to result in Piske taking the healing sprint and going for his opponent's base. Right now he can pretty easily house him if he uses his Usarks, or rather hoplites against those houses. And well, Shelty will have to retreat because this isn't a good place to actually fight when he is being threatened to actually lose all of the buildings here. As those hoplites are much better at taking out buildings than the raiding cavalry together with the Hercers. But Piske should be better careful because he did have some reserves at the back, which are right now being slaughtered, and it's just some cheap killing for Shelty and kind of not ideal from Piske here. So let's switch into Shelty if he isn't maybe advancing into Bragi, but he will be. He will be pretty soon, I kind of think. 700, he's definitely aiming there. And do we see some armory? Don't really see it, but with the resources he has, I'm kind of curious why not, because he's definitely in a pretty good spot to advance at this point. He isn't engaging his opponent, and he kind of needs to wait for the flaming weapons to get rid of the much more powerful army that Piske right now has. And well, he's losing a temple. And yes, finally the armor is here, and this is going to be Bragi pretty soon for Shelty, and Piske should be advancing soon as well. I just want to return to the importance of the towers, because that's basically what at this point Shelty needs to somehow stall Piske for at least a moment, as they will be dishing quite a lot of damage to units then, and even though they are being protected, or rather healed by the healing spring, it shouldn't be enough. Yep, this is going to be result in Bragi. Yep, and this should be also a pretty decent battle right now, because Piske has already lost quite a decent amount of units exactly to this tower fire, and this is forced into restoration. And yeah, I kind of think this is a reasonable point to actually cast it, because he wants to maintain his presence in the base, especially when the reinforcements are coming in, and the tower is done, which means that the battle will be basically between units, and Shelty will be hoping for some extra mythical spawns, but with Piske having both the Jason full health and Odysseus in place, yeah, I don't really think that those spawns will be powerful enough. Extra reinforcements still trickling in, but right now he's going for a second temple, because obviously his first one has been taken down, and he needs to be careful because of the Bragi here already coming up. And will he make it in time? 80%, yeah, he will, quite safely, but if actually Piske picked up on this, which he didn't, he could have disrupted quite a lot, and yeah, he didn't see that, so that was the reason. Right now, that's going to result in Bragi pretty soon, and you can see that Piske is not advancing at all, and he's having a huge amount of food, so pretty bad economy at this point, and he needs to do something better on that, because he needs the gold as much as he can. And I kind of think he doesn't have gold because of the Hippicons here, which is a unit you don't use all that often in the classical fightings here, and right now it's costing him. And yeah, Shelty using flaming weapons, and this is a fight that Piske should be retreating from. This isn't a fight that he can win with flaming weapons and fighting in opponent's base, which is much closer to his buildings. Having just one longhouse though, and one temple, so yeah, interesting, but you can see he just got wrecked, basically because of the flaming weapons. The extra attack is huge, and since Piske is having to fight quite a lot of throwing axemen here by Shelty, it's not a fight that he should have taken, and he lost it all. And he is very risking at this point, because he might be losing the game altogether, because he is not advancing into a heroic age anytime soon, and at the same time he's losing quite a lot of units still. And piggies are making an appearance for Shelty's army, and they are pretty strong and pretty tough actually to take down for Zeus. And even though Zeus does have some strong heroes, like Odysseus is pretty great, the sheer amount of those units is problematic, and especially when you have some extra units that can target exactly those guys. Well, one piggy will die, but you can see that Odysseus already reduced by some 15% of health, just by and large. And well, Piske is moving for another gold mine. And well, you might be seeing somebody going for an extra TC finally, because at this point we are really kinda in pass. Since the flaming weapons are gone, Shelty, I kinda think he didn't use them all that well. He should have just consolidated the position in his base sooner here, but still pretty decent army. And the piggies are exactly the kind of meat shield that Shelty needs to protect against the Toxodai. And Piske isn't, yeah, Piske isn't really going for any micro at all in this battle, and that's really going to cost him yet again. Even though he might kill some of those units, he's just gonna get slaughtered because those piggies are a huge meat shield and they don't really receive all that much damage from the normal units. 720, that's just too hard to take down. And yep, when you have the throwing axeman and your opponent is having quite a large number of hoplites, yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. That's Shelty winning the battle here. Shelty is at 15 minutes gathering food from the middle hunt, which was basically his, I kinda think, from to start with. And right now he's finally getting to it, and it's going to be some super boost at this point, because still the hunt is faster to be gathered, and also he doesn't have to waste some resources on farms, even though he probably has some. But let's switch after this battle, because right now, even though Piske is having some extra towers, finally, this is going to be enough. 1, 2, 3 extra building files, which is pretty decent. And really, this is a fight that Shelty is the one that doesn't want to take. And even though the piggies were pretty decent meat shield, again, fighting close to the opponent's military buildings is usually not a good idea unless you have a decisive advantage, which at this point Shelty didn't have, and he was also fighting under the fire of the tower and the TC, and that really cost him. You can see that Piske is going for a second TC, so he is opting for that instead of Heroic Age, and still he is quite happy to actually fight in the Classic, and I cannot understand why, because he doesn't need to worry about some extra upgrades from his opponent, because he probably doesn't have the echo for that, and you can still see that these are just throwing axemen, not even mediums, and well, same goes for Piske at this point, which is really curious. And right now 500, 300. At this point, I kinda think this is going to result in heroic from Piske as well, but he better be careful about the gold, because right now that's going to be disrupted due to some very good trading from Shelty. But Shelty should be also aware that Piske is getting at the top, and I kinda think, or rather that Piske is getting at the top, yeah, right? And probably, oh, he doesn't have a line of sight. He has absolutely no idea there's some extra gold. Oh well, that's a pretty huge point for Piske at this point, because he can probably gather some extra gold for quite a long time before Shelty actually makes the discovery. Well, yeah, that's going to be pretty important at this stage of the game. So Shelty has also captured one TC, and it's in the middle. And right now Piske is going for a TC himself, but he will be discovered, and it's a pretty decent army, and this is going to result in some dead bodies. Well, at least one at this point, and yeah, Piske doesn't have the army at the right spot, so he's going to pay with the lives of quite a lot of units here. And well, even though piggies are coming into place here, can they survive long enough against the Odysseus and Jason? Yes, they can, because Odysseus is almost dead, and this is yet again a pretty good example of a battle that Piske shouldn't be taken at all, because again, those boars are a huge meat shield, and they are doing their job quite decently, and you can see a lot of blue, and the reds are just dwindling, and yep, this battle is most definitely going for Shelty, and this could actually mean that he might deny Piske his front TC, which would be pretty bad for him, because Shelty already has his back or front TC and is quite well into the game, and if he can really limit Piske to 2, he might be just on his way to victory. And right now he's probably seen what's happening here with the gold mining. Yep, he definitely did, and he's already moving there, and he needs to retreat Shelty, or rather Piske, because if he doesn't, this will be pretty bad for him. Fortunately for him, he does have the TC, and he has seen it quite fast, but really, this huge amount of release at the Van Dog is pretty risky, and he should move something up top, because so far he hasn't seen Piske go there, or rather Shelty go there, so Piske should be quite at this point comfortable sending some extra release in. Okay, he's still trying to finish the TC, and yeah, trying to take a battle for that, but really those pigs are making all the difference in all the battles here. I can't really stress that enough. That's a super huge unit in this battle, and really they are exactly the reason why Shelty is winning the battles here. Pierce upgrades, this is a pretty good one, and this should be something that Piske should be very worried about. I hope he noticed, because if he didn't, he might be still wanting to fight with his Toxots, and that might not be a great idea, especially because of those pigs at the meat shield, and these guys being that much more actually protected against the extra Toxotai fire, and Toxotais are supposed to be at this point the backbone of Piske's army. So yeah, better be careful. Right now Shelty is trying to steal the TC for himself, which is not a half bad idea, and since he is having quite a lot of units here, he might be actually successful. Let's see about that. He's kinda playing curiously the battle. I kinda would have sent all the throwing axemen, just continue building, no matter how much he would have lost. And at this point it's kinda looking like he might finish it, but it might cost him a lot more than I would have thought. And oh, 550. God damn it, he doesn't finish. He doesn't finish, and that's exactly because he actually recalled some of those units to fight against the Toxotai. And if he didn't, I'm pretty positive he would have finished the TC. So that was a misplay here on Shelty's part, and well, let's see if that's going to come back and bite him, because it really frees Piske to take the TC for himself, and it allowed Piske to mass enough army as he wasn't engaging with full. And on the other hand, Shelty lost quite a lot of units here, and he has to be careful, quite obviously. I think I heard some armory dropped somewhere. I have to check where it could have been. Ah, yeah, here it was, and yeah, we did hear right. And Apollo is already been researched. So yep, and a bit of raiding, and that's a pretty good raiding at this point. Because even though Shelty can transform some of those dwarves into Ulfsarks, still, if they can at least kill the Oxguard, that's going to result in, yeah, a delay in gold gathering here for Shelty. And let's have a look. With Piske having 2000 gold though, he might be actually interested in fast jumping into Mythic. But he really needs some extra food for that. He doesn't have a strong food economy yet. A bit of raiding from Shelty. I'm gonna check some upgrades here. Just a blow. Well, he kinda needs some extra upgrades for that, as that's not really good enough. So let's see when he advances into Heroic if he can boost his economy quite strongly, because right now he is popped, and since he doesn't have any military upgrades yet, he's probably just waiting really for fast jumping to Mythic, and right now making another attempt at TC, and well, Boar is here, which is exactly the right unit that might disrupt the building, and yes it will. Yes it will, and some extra Hersiers are just going to take care of the extra units here, and well, you can see that how much health this guy actually has, and it will buy quite a lot of time for extra reinforcements for Shelty to arrive at the battlefield. Shelty is right now also interested in taking a third TC at the back, which is a pretty good idea, and well, he's having some billies at the bottom, which is probably going to result in some market pretty soon. Well, an advance into Mythic for him. So yes, TC has been yet again denied to Piske, and Shelty is still trying to stop him, but at the same time we can see that Shelty is in kind of a tough situation at this point. He isn't supplying enough units, so is he maybe advancing into Mythic? Well, he's most definitely establishing around the middle TC, because he's recognizing that the situation is kind of trickling from him a bit, and he, well, advancing into Mythic soon. No, he isn't. He isn't at all. I don't really see market anywhere either, but he's having 45 TCs. And ah yeah, right now he clicked, yes he did. So hell is coming in quite soon from him, and that's going to be a bit difficult for Piske, because quite obviously he has wasted already his bolt right early on some mythical unit, if I remember correctly. And well, with at least the Manticore here and the Odysseus, he will be much more capable, Piske, in defeating those piggies. And well, Shelty is right now having at least 3 medium throwing axemen, and that's going to help him, but is it going to be enough? Because at this point I kinda think this is a kind of folly battle, and if Piske really plays this well and upgrades into medium Toxos, which he just did, thank you for that, he might be in a better position at this point. And building a fortress is actually not a bad idea, because he can build it with his village slightly safer next to his base, and it can supply some extra covering fire for building TC, so it's not a bad idea. It's actually a pretty clever one and might help him stabilize in the position next to the TC. So this is another lead battle. Going at this point for Piske, but is it really going to last? Because Shelty is sending quite a lot of reinforcements, and even though Piske is sending as well, it really hangs in the balance if the fortress can be finished, and at this point seems it will. Yep, fortress is here, and this will pretty much mean that Shelty has to retreat, because he can't really fight under all this extra fire, as it will result in pretty much a horrible position, and well, he's not even properly microing. Right now he finally has hidden the Odysseus, and right now, yeah, he got rid of the Ainear, and well, this battle should be going for Piske in just a matter of moments because of the extra fire from the fortress here. Yep, Hephaestus is in for Piske, and well, here we see the Nidhogg. So yeah, I'm just gonna eat my words here. Shelty is really having an upper hand, but even though I don't really like how he's fighting under the fortress. This is really not a good idea, and still a pretty tough fight for him to take. And even though Nidhogg is an extra help, the Colossus, pretty good meat shield, much better than the piggies. And even though we don't really see piggies here, and at least one Heresier, this wasn't really enough for Shelty to take a whack at it, and Piske is right now free to somehow mess some units, and well, quite possibly switch into Myrmidons and whatnot. He already has second military academy, so let's switch into him to see what is happening. And yeah, we can see that Myrmidons are already making an appearance, and extra armory upgrades are going to be trickling in because he already has the Forge of Olympus. Yep, there's going to be the power spike quite soon coming into play. Oh well, that was some kind of a gathering here from Piske, but well, yeah, Nidhogg has a different idea about that. But since Odysseus is catching up with the dragon here, it should actually be killing him quite recently, and well, yeah, this is going to result in death of the Nidhogg pretty soon. And well, it seems like that the battle from Piske's fortress and the TC at this point is pretty much clear for him that it's going to come up. He has been kinda attempting to take on the front TC from Shelty, but yeah, that's not really a good idea, especially looking at the huge amount of units that Shelty has and the extra fire giants. So fire giants will try to stop the fortress possibly from coming, from dealing some extra damage, but right now with the extra TC, Piske is at even grounds, and this could be actually the thing that he needs to take this game for himself. Right now, a lot of throwing axemen, but with the extra fire from the TC and the fortress, this is a pretty bad spot for you. And even though Myrmidons are pretty great, I kind of think that Piske should be still incorporating quite a lot of dog swords to get rid of all those throwing axemen at this point. Yep, Bellerophon here, and he is jumping the fire giant, and so goodbye. It's going to be one more hit, and Heracles is making an appearance as well. And well, even though fire giants are pretty problematic for literally anyone in the mythical age at this point, this was a very nice battle, and exactly the heroes that he needed. Piske won the battle for him. A bit of a raid is still going on through Dragon, but Dragon is really just waiting for Odysseus to kill him, and still a bit of gold at the back. 800 is not really bad, and this gold mine is really free, and he knows about it, so I'm really surprised why he isn't going there. Well, he still has this 3000 gold, so he doesn't really need to. Well, let's see how that goes. So Heracles is right again, yet making an appearance again, and those fire giants are exactly again the unit that is pretty hard for Piske somehow to deal with. Even though you might think the heroes from the Greeks are pretty strong, they actually aren't all that much, because they are easily targeted. They are just a too low number of them, and you really need some extra support from the mythical units if you want to get rid of some reasonable mythical unit spawn. Shelty now making a pretty strong claim on the front TC of Piske. That's a very strong claim, and I don't really think that Piske has something to do against that. Yeah, Bellerophon will not come out in time, and you can quite clearly see that the fire giants are still very much alive. And yeah, TC is down, Piske is down at 2, and this could be a pretty good push for Shelty, because at this point Piske will be at a decided disadvantage with his units. And let's see some upgrades. He's almost there, well, almost, not really having pierce damage yet, bronze weapons, but he does have iron mail, so he's getting there with the upgrades, but he really needs champion Myrmidons and champion dog swords to be on par with his opponent. But looking at his economy, he's terribly strained at this point, and he doesn't really have enough. Let's have a look at some upgrades. Well, he does have cavalry. He does have irrigation, so he should be having quite decent echo, so it's kind of curious why he isn't doing better. Let's have a look at the post game. Just gonna have a look at economy and units. Well, he's having anti-5 willies. He should be having quite a decent echo against it as compared to his opponent. He does have a lot more resources. But it's kind of curious that he actually can't keep up. It just kind of seems that he isn't using his units quite as well. You can see the difference. Heavy throwing axemen with decent upgrades, and Piske is having just mediums. And even though he had the cheaper upgrades from the Forge of Olympus, he's still not really fully upgraded, so the armory upgrades are pretty similar. But, well, the heavy and champions and whatnot are most definitely in Shelty's advantage, and really, you have to wonder why Shelty is having such a better echo than Piske at this point, when it should be kinda the other way around. Well, curious, but nonetheless, that is exactly what is happening, and Shelty is really confirming that this is the push that he wants to take. Some extra ballistae here, and it's really taking quite a lot of time for Piske to somehow stabilize and upgrade into what he needs. Right now, Shelty is trying to make use of the gold in the middle, because once he's pushed off it, he will have just one at the very back, which will be kinda not enough for the longer game, but I kinda think that he's pretty much fine at this point, because he's already having a market at the bottom, and a very sweet market road to the top TC. Going back to the battlefield though, Shelty is right now aiming to reclaim the TC, but he doesn't have the correct position, I would say. This is really kind of fully battle at this point. He doesn't have enough, because all those Toxotai together with those Myrmidons can just stop it together with the help from the fortress, and yeah, he needs something else, Shelty. Shelty needs to take down the fortress first, then he can make an attempt, I kind of think, and before that happens, he just needs to make all the attempts to kill the army as much as he can, because really, that's the best time, and really, he needs to wait for the fortress to come down, which is in just a matter of moments, I kind of think, and not even Bellerophon should be able to stop that. But for some absolutely obscure reason, Shelty has stopped firing, and he's actually allowing Piske to repair it. Come on, it was just 200 hit points, it was like few hits from the ballistae, and it would have been dead. Well, this might actually be... Oh, this might be a moment that Shelty might through, sorry for the English, and really, this was kinda confusing to me, seriously confusing. But anyway, Shelty is still winning the battle here, even though this was a pretty large setback for him. He should be, yeah, making another attempt pretty soon. And the Piske is right now seeing that he needs to do something else, and that something else is at this point going for some watchtower spam, which is a pretty good idea, as he will deny some gold and also some extra fire for his units to support them. And well, Huskarls, yes, Huskarls are exactly the correct unit, because you can see that Piske is still not having a good unit, just heavy Toxos here, but still just medium Myrmidons, and yeah, Huskarls are the exact right unit with the extra Pierce unit armor against those Toxotai. So yeah, exactly, good reaction from Shelty, and this might actually result in a pretty safe fight for him and successful recapturing of the TC for himself. So another attempt being made at this point. We have the battle still raging on, and Bellerophon taking care of the military units, of the mythic units, sorry, and I'm still waiting for the Myrmidons being researched, but I kinda think that Piske is right now getting there, because he's popped and he's having quite a large amount of food at this point, and I kinda think that he should just sell some of this food and go for some extra upgrades. He most definitely needs he needs those heavy Myrmidons. He most definitely needs them, and he also needs some extra military barracks, because at this military academies, because at this point he's not doing well enough. But here we can see that Underworld Passage has been cast, and he's making an attempt at the back TC of Shelty, which is a pretty good idea, because Shelty won't be able to defend that at all, and he will be put down to just 2 TCs. Provided that Piske can stop him from taking his third, which right now he can, which is really important at this stage. And do we see some extra units going back? Yeah, we see that Shelty is recalling some of the units to help defend the back TC, which is not going to happen and not going to work out, quite obviously, because, well, yeah, it's just too far away. So this is a pretty good idea from the Underworld Passage, and finally we see some heavy Myrmidons. So this is a huge step for the victory, and will actually right now Shelty stop the Underworld? Is he aware where it is? Is he aware where it is? Yeah, he is. Right now he knows, so he should be taking care of it in just a matter of moments. And you can see that he's heavily strained for food, which is really curious, and he needs to improve his echo. He doesn't really have all that many farms, if you look at it. And that's absolutely curious at this point. Really having just this low amount of farms, that's not really good enough. And you can see it in his economy, he's just having no food, a ton of food, ton of gold, and he needs to do something about that. And it's not really all that hard, just put all of these guys onto farms and you're pretty much good to go, all these guys. Oh, this is kinda... well, this is really weird. Does he have at least irrigation? He does. But this is basically what is costing him the game at this point, because he can't really supply the production as much as he could, quite potentially. And this attack at the back is really a pretty good idea from Piske, as you can see. Well, we have known that before, but the important thing it is from that Shelty has been forced to actually retreat with his armies, which allowed Piske with limited units on the top to actually supply enough units at the bottom to somehow try and secure his front TC, which is at this point probably going to happen because this hill fort is most definitely not coming up from Shelty, and even though Shelty has finished his TC and is right now going to kill this underworld passage, yeah, it's not really going to last any longer. He is relinquishing the position in the front here, and Piske will be at 3 TCs, and right now it's not going to be all that great for Shelty because Piske is already fully upgraded, has champion Toxots, Toxotai, champion Myrmidons, and right now he is the true mythical beast that he was waiting for. But, well, Piske is still not really paying enough attention at the bottom, and he's just basically letting Shelty steal his own gold, which is a huge bonus because Shelty will still have this one gold mine at the back, and, well, Piske is right now losing the underworld passage, but not before he transported some extra units and made it a bit more difficult for Shelty. But really, this underworld passage is basically what may have decided the game at this point, because it disrupted Shelty quite a lot and allowed Piske to take the front TC. And right now, with the extra tower spam next to the TC, he should be pretty much safe and just waiting for the right moment to push and kill his opponent. So right now, it seems like that Piske is thinking that might be it, going forward and trying to disrupt exactly the tower spam from Shelty, and yeah, this goal is not going to be Shelty's any longer, and well, Piske is in an offensive and a pretty strong one, but he still needs some extra units here. So I'm just going to switch to Piske and see if he's going for the Helepola. Yes, he is, but he needs to somehow concentrate enough units here, and even though he's at 160 having a huge amount of resources, he could probably kill some of those. Oh yeah, this is kind of overdid. This is hugely overdid and he needs to kill them. Yeah, you can see the auto queue here. There's absolutely killing Piske at this point. This is the downside of auto queue if you're not paying attention. You can see the absolutely ridiculous amount of donkeys. That's something you don't need at all at this point. Or rather, don't need at all. You need to somehow kill something else from your economy if you want to have that many donkeys and you're not mining gold. So yeah, there's still enough gold for you to mine. So do something, Piske, please. Please stop this auto queue, otherwise it's just gonna kill you. Because right now it doesn't seem like that Piske is having enough army, and Shelty should be having enough himself. And this was a pretty nice attempt from Piske to somehow put a surprise fortress up here and potentially some extra Helepoli. You can see that the TC has been dealt some extra damage through the Colossi that was going through the last moment of the underworld. And well, Shelty is right now trying to emulate what Piske was trying to do with the fortress, and he will be trying to get through the wall and disrupt the trade route here. Oh, this is really a huge amount of donkeys at this point. Piske is though slowly but surely advancing forward, as somehow Shelty is not able to really mount any kind of defense against that. He's having all kinds of troubles, and it's really still coming down to not having enough food, and he's... Oh wow, what is this? What is this? He has to be kind of wondering why he isn't having any units at the forefront, and this is basically it. Right now he's finally noticing, and yeah, this is the kind of units that he needs here, and this is going to turn the battle around, because yeah, this is a kind of army that Shelty will be having enough of to disrupt what Piske is at this point doing, and yep, not really good enough what Piske is having here. So yeah, pretty good attempt at the TC, but oh wow, TC has actually come down because of the Helepoli's huge attack and the Colossi here as well, and well, the idle time that Shelty had with those Wolf Sarks here is going to cost him, because at this point he is at just 2 TCs fighting against 3 TC Piske, and well, yeah, some extra tower spam is a pretty decent idea, and even though Shelty is right now trying to recapture the TC, having much more units at this point, this is not just going to last, because you can see that Piske is sending quite a lot of reinforcements, and all it will take to stop this TC from coming down is this Colossi, this Colossus coming back to the TC and just getting 1 damage, and it's gonna be like half of those build-ups to die, and the Helepoli as well. So yeah, no TC for Piske, for Shelty at this point, and 1 extra TC for Piske pretty soon, I would say. So yeah, this is Shelty fighting a pretty bad battle at this point, and Piske also finishing the fortress here. And well, you can see that Shelty did not finish his own. Maybe he did, but it died. Well, don't really know at this point. And at the bottom, well, Shelty is trying to do some sneak and portable arrays, you can see them, to disrupt his opponent and possibly take down some of the TC, which is a pretty good idea and might really work. But at this point, he's really fighting a losing battle in the middle here, and he's kind of having his hands full, and he doesn't have the pop for the portable arms on the right, and it also almost seems like that this game is trickling through his fingers, and Piske somehow were able to recuperate quite well, and even though it didn't really look very well for him because of the fight for the front TC, which took like majority of the game, but when he cast the underworld to go at the back of Shelty's TCs, that was exactly what he needed, the break to secure the TC, and from then on it's basically Piske advancing ever forward and not really stopping all that much. Yeah, the TC is not going to come up with all those extra siege here with the Helepoli and the extra Colossi here, and extra fortress on top of that with the towers. This is pretty much Shelty being denied the front TC, and that's a bad news for him. And finally we see some extra attempt with the portable rams, but Piske is very well aware and killing them even with this release. So yeah, that was kind of the last attempt, I kind of think, that might have been working if he maybe waited a bit longer for a bit bigger army, but at this point it's not. And, well, it seems like that Piske is really getting ever forward, and fortress is almost up. 5, yeah, it's going to be there right now. And the TC is pretty much secured for him. And those extra guys will just level all those buildings here. And, well, can Shelty do something about that? I'm at this point not really sure what, especially when he's under pretty smart attack from the back. That's from the fortress here. And yeah, he's going to lose another TC, so Shelty is right now down to 1. And even though he got through the wall at the top, yeah, this was the hill fort. I was looking here, which was the wrong spot. Yeah, I should have looked at the top. And here we see the GG. Here we see the GG, and even though Shelty has been able to disrupt the market, it was way too late, and Piske did quite well enough himself by disrupting the TC at the back, and also in the middle he was already capturing it, and with the extra fire, there was absolutely no way that Shelty could have went against that. Well, that was one hell of a game. That was one hell of a game. Quite interesting altogether, and really, it really seemed to be going for Shelty for a majority of it, because he was denying Piske quite a long time, but then in the middle he then misplayed when he just couldn't finish the TC by, like, I don't know, just a few hit points really with the throwing axeman, and that might have cost him the game, because if he was 4 against 2, and most especially if he did have the TC, which at that point Piske wouldn't have 0 ways of actually getting rid of it, that might have been it, but that did not happen, and Piske went for it for him by himself, and quite successfully at that. Wow, that's a lot of donkeys. Switch into Piske. Oh, oh wow, that's a lot of food and wood. That's really a point where you delete release just to free some extra pop for your military. Doesn't really make any sense to just gather all that many resources when you are already upped and whatnot. Just kind of waste of everything. And he had 29 donkeys. 29 donkeys. That's basically, instead of all the gathering of gold, you can see they were gathering 65, which is quite a lot. So he didn't even need all that many, I kind of think. Anyway, that was the auto queue from the market, and let's check the post game. Piske winning absolutely everything instead, but not Mythology. Kind of curious, but with Loki here, well, understandable. And yeah, quite a lot of food for Piske, but otherwise Shelty was winning in the other departments. But still the difference 6 and 2, 8,000 in difference. So yeah, Piske still having 10,000 more resources than his opponent. And even with that disadvantage, Piske was way too slow in getting some extra upgrades there in the heroic and the mythic. Military counts kinda similar. And improvements, well, you can see that Shelty fighting from 12 minutes in heroic and Piske advancing into heroic just at 20 minutes. That was really also the reason why Piske wasn't able to secure his front TC, because he just didn't have the power there. But the mythics were there at the same time, and Piske went better for it. A lot of throwing axemen. Here you can see at the end that Shelty had way more military units than Piske. Piske was just around 20. It's kind of sad number. Looking how he's at 3 TCs in Mythic and whatnot. Just going through some of these extra resources here. Taps for if anyone is interested. It's kind of curious. And in gold, I kinda guess. Oh no, I want gold total. And yeah, well, Shelty running away from Piske quite substantially. And yeah, Piske was missing gold while Shelty was missing food. Yeah, that's exactly the difference here. Alright, well, that was a damn good GG. And let's see how the match will continue in game number 2.